Hello, this is Daryl here, sending love as always. Thank you for tuning in. I just want to say if you like this interview, you can check our website for companion workbooks, action guides, tools, checklists, templates, and show notes with links for everything mentioned on the call. Just visit bestbusinesscoach.ca. That's best, B-E-S-T, businesscoach.ca. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Daryl Urbanski, and welcome to the Best Business Podcast. My mission is to help create 200 new multi-millionaire business owners. How? You'll do better when you know better. In my interviews, you'll hear from self-made millionaires, seven-figure business owners, authors, and world-class experts sharing how they did it so you can too, without experiencing the same obstacles they did. Now, if you like this interview, please share it with a friend you think will benefit. They'll appreciate it, and I will as well. You can also connect with me on social media. Look for Daryl Urbanski, D-A-R-Y-L, Urban Ski, U-R-B-A-N-S-K-I, and add me so we can be friends. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy what I've prepared for you right here, right now. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Daryl Urbanski, your host as always, and today we are joined by my friend and third-time returning guest, Mitch Russo. In 1985, Mitch co-founded Timeslips Corp, which grew to become the largest time-tracking software company in the world. In 94, Timeslips was sold to Sage PLC, where he got involved with Sage, running all of their USA operations as chief operating officer. That was a division with 300 people and a market cap in excess of $100 million. In 89, he was nominated Inc. magazine's Entrepreneur of the Year, and also he has won Best Entrepreneur by the National Association of Legal Vendors twice. After that, he joined longtime friend Chet Holmes and Tony Robbins to create Business Breakthroughs International, a company serving thousands of businesses a year with coaching, consulting, and training services. In this instance, Mitch was the president and CEO of Business Breakthroughs, and it was here, working with these two powerhouse performers, he learned a true secret of success we're going to share with you today. However, after the early and unfortunate death of Chet, Mitch left Business Breakthroughs to help others build their businesses as a consultant specializing in building certified consulting and coaching organizations. I mostly worked with call centers and with large volume lead flow, helping coach organizations on how to scale. In 2015, Mitch published The Invisible Organization, the CEO's Guide to Building Fully Virtual Organizations. And today we are here to talk about a secret proven to increase your chances of success by up to 95%. Something used by the top 1% of performers on the planet to meet and exceed their goals. Something to help overcome the obstacles of life when it throws things in your way to achieving them. So, Mitch, thank you so much for joining me again, my friend. I always appreciate your time and love our conversations. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Daryl. Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's always fun to talk to you.
Well, you're a wealth of information and a powerhouse in the business world, so it's an honor and a pleasure, and always time well spent. So now you're working on something new today, and we kind of alluded to some secrets that you're going to share with us. And everybody's working so hard, to get ahead in their lives and in business and reach their goals, and there's ever more distractions and things coming up. And so, what's the secret, Mitch? What are we talking about here? How do people cut through the clutter and get more out of what they're trying to achieve in life? What are some of the things that they can do?
Well, let's talk about the problem first, because I think there is a problem I believe that we all have as entrepreneurs and business owners, and it really comes down to things like procrastination, and not just simple procrastination, but the fact that we have too many, as you and I have used the term, shiny objects that cross our path every day, that we get distracted a lot. And because we also have so many opportunities, we live in an opportunity-rich target environment where there are just so many things that we could do to be successful and to potentially make money, that, again, there's that distraction factor. And what I discovered years ago, and I discovered this while working with Tony Robbins, is that there is I guess, in a sense, it's a secret for how true successful people really operate their lives. And it's so simple that it's scary. It's so simple that you almost don't even know you don't have to learn how to do it, because once I tell you what it is, you'll immediately know how to do it. I mean, there's some nuances to it, but Does this sound intriguing so far?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's something I already know, something I don't really have to learn to do that can help me be more successful.
Yeah. So think about it this way. So, that program you bought, that training program you bought that could be life-changing, but you just never got to it. There's a part of the mind that's always trying to keep us safe. We call that the reptilian mind. That's safety, that wants to keep us from taking risks. And sometimes learning something new is actually a risk to the reptilian mind. It actually jeopardizes our safety. Why? Because we might fail, you see. So it's that mind that's keeping us from doing the things that we really know we need to do. So if you had a clear direction with help along the way, then you would take clear and decisive action. You would totally maximize the value of your time. And then ultimately, you would really see results because you could get much more focused. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. So what if I told you that there was this thing that I could teach you in 5 minutes that would prevent you from spending any more money on courses or programs you won't complete, that will also prevent you from ever feeling guilty again because you aren't taking action, and you'd never have to worry about making it to the next level? Does that sound like a good plan so far?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let me tell you what it is. The suspense is going to end right now. It's accountability. Now, let me just explain what this really is. When I worked with Chet and Tony and we built Business Breakthroughs International, we offered accountability coaching to our clients, and hundreds and hundreds of people signed up and paid us $1,800 a month to have an entry-level person ask them 5 questions each week. And if they answered yes, then we congratulated them. If they answered no, we said, why not? And when will you do it? And they gave us an answer and we wrote that down. And that was the end of the session. That simple process of keeping someone accountable to their goals can change lives. And it's not like a pill that you take and you're done. It's a process. That can take weeks and months for you to accomplish.
Yeah.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
Well, yeah. 2 things I want to say about that. One, I love that it's process oriented because there's 3 types of goals. There's process goals, performance goals, and outcome goals. And so really though, I feel like they're all important, but process in my experience. And so everyone listening, they might be like, oh, this Daryl guy, him and Mitch are in it together. They're just trying to pitch me on something. No, like this is a legitimate thing after having trained with world champions and Olympic athletes and people who have dedicated their lives and made massive sacrifices to achieving a single outcome. The process is often where the magic is. Like that's really where it's about. It's controlling the little day by day. I mean, Jim Rohn says that all success is doing the right things every day, and all failure is neglecting to do the right things day after day. And it's that compound effect. It's them piling on top of each other. So I'm really a big fan that you talked about how it's a process. It's not like a get rich pill, because that's where the magic is. When a homing missile's fired to hit a target, it's off course 90% of the time, but it course corrects constantly because the wind blew it a little to the left. Oh, got to adjust to the right. Oh, we adjusted too far. It's that constant course correction. And so I love that part first and foremost. The second,
absolutely.
Right. Yeah, no. And the second part is it's, I want to know what the questions are, because I've been using questions for about almost 10 years working with virtual teams. What did you get done yesterday? Be specific. What problems and obstacles are you dealing with? What do you need from me or someone else on the team? Or, what are you waiting for? And what are you going to do next? Be specific. And those are 4 questions that I use. Oh, and then now I've actually added a 5th, like what's your work capacity? Or what's your workload? Green, I've got room for more. Yellow, I'm close to capacity. Red, it better be important. That's a new one that I've added. So those are the 5 questions that I ask my team to help hold them accountable on a daily basis. So I'm just kind of curious what your 5 questions were.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I have a list of about 19 questions that I have used myself for years, and I have culled from some of the great masters. And if everybody listening to the show stays to the end of our broadcast today, I'm going to give you a link where you can get them all for free.
Got
that
it.
a deal?
That's a deal. There we go. I love it.
Cool.
I didn't even know I was setting that up. That's a good one. That's perfect.
Yeah,
I want it.
exactly. You got it.
I'm
It's yours, baby.
definitely going to be here till the end of the call now.
I'm glad you will. I was hoping you wouldn't leave. So you know a guy named Daniel Pink, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Daniel Pink's new book is called When. It's a great book, but I picked a quote from it that I want to read to you. Here's his quote: "We're far more likely to stick to a goal if we have someone holding us accountable. One way to surmount a slump is to tell someone else how and when you'll get something done." So what we're about to do here is put together a system that will allow us to stay consistently on top of the things we promise that we will do. Because as you know, without a system, then it becomes a little haphazard and it becomes a little random. And so Tony Robbins said, what areas of your life need more accountability? Where do you feel stuck? Like you just can't make progress, your health, your relationships, your careers? It's accountability. This is the key. But again, staying accountable once will get you nothing and take you nowhere. But staying accountable every week, week after week after week, you can pretty much rule the world just by doing that. And that's the belief that I started with. Now, let me tell you exactly how I got here, because I think you might enjoy this story. I'm going to have to share something with you that I don't really share. I've never shared before with you, Daryl, and it's a part of my past. I'm not that proud of it, but I'm going to tie it all together at the end of the story. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So I was in high school and I ended up I got into trouble with drugs, Daryl. And, I know you mentioned some problems in your family with something like this. And in my family, it was me. I was the problem kid. I got addicted to heroin in high school. And there was a moment in time when I was as close to being dead as anyone could be. But God stepped in and saved me, and he saved me for a reason. And it's taken me all this time to truly understand that reason. But I did end up having to go into a rehab center, and I spent 18 months basically dropping out of life and rebuilding myself and figuring out what it was that I did and where I went wrong. But 18 months later, I emerged a sound, healthy young man with vision and purpose. And it was possibly the hardest thing I ever done at the time, and maybe the best thing I ever did for myself. So it was this individual thing that, was a part of my life. I've stayed clean and sober for well over 40 years at this point, but I never quite understood how I could give back. I used to speak to the U. O'Brien Youth Organization regularly and share this story because I want to motivate kids to stay away from drugs, of course. But, I got into trouble because I didn't have an adult to speak with. And I think if I might not have gotten into the trouble I did. So tuck that away for a moment. And let me now tell you the next part of my story. About a year ago, I was basically in a place where I needed an accountability partner. It was a little more than a year ago. And I did hook up with a woman who became my accountability partner, and we worked together. And in this process, I realized that the world needs us. The world needs accountability partnerships. And there's no way to go and find that unless you have a personal connection or you ask someone to help you. But even if you did, there's no system in place to keep you accountable, keep you on track, to store your statistics, to track your progress, to basically sequence your accountability questions and make sure that they're answered. So I decided to build it. And that's what I've spent the last year of my life doing, working with a design team and a programming team. And the end result was a product called resultsbreakthrough.com. So here's the thing. I designed resultsbreakthrough.com for myself so that I can have my own accountability sessions inside of a structured environment week after week, live on the phone, while my software guides us both on screen to not only keep track of our questions, but our answers too. And then our statistics in a dashboard so we could see what we're doing every week. So as I designed this thing and as I'm thinking about the process, and as I'm thrilled that I'm going to get a chance to help a lot of people with accountability, I felt like there was something missing. And I wasn't sure what it was until literally about 3 months ago when it came to me. And it came to me in a conversation with my friend Yannick Silver, because he loves this whole concept called the evolved enterprise. An evolved enterprise is where a company basically gives back to society in some way.
And they use those
right?
metrics for their campaigns. So instead of just leads and sales, it's we had them on the show with their last campaign. It was how many kids are we putting in school and how many days of school are we paying for? They did a launch. And so instead of just leads and sales, it was what kind of impact are we having on the world? Yeah.
Exactly. So he inspired me to come up with this thing that I call the 10-minute mentor program. So the 10-minute mentor program means that if you sign up for resultsbreakthrough.com and you become a member of my community and you start keeping yourself accountable, I'm going to give you the chance, if you want it, it's not mandatory, to be connected with a troubled high school teen who is in an inner city school that would love the chance to connect with an adult once a month for 10 or 20 minutes and talk about their business dreams or their life dreams. Get a little encouragement, maybe even a little guidance, maybe even a little accountability. And
I'm already want to do that. That's a huge thing. Sorry to interrupt, but that's an extremely rewarding and powerful thing. That's a reason I want to be involved, just because you said that. As soon as you mentioned that, I want in, because some of the people on the show may have noticed I helped out some family last year, and I had met my cousins for Christmas dinner this Christmas past. And I have to tell you that the 6 months I spent, and literally tens of thousands of dollars in helping that part of my family, it was so worthwhile to sit down at that Christmas dinner and hear about them talk about their lives and just how it's changed. And it's, especially when they're kids, like small changes. I mean, we talked about the compound effect of a process before. Just getting them to repeat some behaviors day by day or week by week or even month by month over 10 years, 20 years of their life. Like, I'm so impressed with those kids after 6 months of living with me, and then 6 months of kind of having them be on their own back in their home environment all together again, which they weren't. They were kind of broken up in different homes. It's life-changing. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but that's just for anyone that's never done that, never mentored or gotten involved or volunteered or done a mission. Like, if you're around long enough to actually have some sort of impact on someone's life, there's just some things money can't buy, and it's just so rewarding. So sorry, I didn't mean to interject.
Oh, it's not a problem. I mean, look, you've learned a lesson that I think a lot of us have already learned, which is the ultimate getting is giving. And when you give, you get far more than you give. And so here's the thing, and this is the loop back to the beginning of my story. Once I had this realization that I could create this 10-minute mentor program, and once, Yannick and I got excited about it, and the whole thing kind of came together in about 10 minutes of conversation, I then had the realization that, oh my God, what would have happened to me if I would have had a 10-minute mentor in my life when I was in high school?
Yep. Yeah.
And maybe, who knows, maybe that needle never would have gone in my arm. I don't know that. But there's the chance, and there is now for me, the chance for me to change the world in a little bit of a way that I have the power to do now. And with the help and with the relationships I'm building as part of resultsbreakthrough.com, I'm hoping that together we all can change one kid at a time and maybe even change the world. So that's my big why as to why I'm doing this and why I decided to do this.
And I speak to something. I think it's a fantastic thing. I already want to be involved. I'm going to highly recommend everyone listening to this get involved. One, if you don't already have an accountability partner, you need one. And two, like we just mentioned, how rewarding it can be to give and to help. And you learn when you teach and mentor others. Like, that's something I've always loved about client work, is I get put in situations and experiences that I'm not currently in myself. And it's like reps. Like, if repetition equals mastery, it just helps you get there faster because it gives you more opportunities to flex those muscles. And so a really powerful thing with that methodology is that's almost how I'm an avid CrossFitter. That's how that was done. It was something that was originally done for high net worth individuals. Even look at what Elon Musk is doing with Tesla. He made an electric car for rich people, and now he's breaking it down, and now we've got like a $30,000 model rolling out. You have to have a product or service to give to people who can pay for it, to support the things that you can do for the greater good of those that aren't needy, and getting them involved in the process is often really rewarding for both groups. So hats off to you. Hats off to you.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I mean, it's so true. Even Zig Ziglar said everyone needs a method, technique, or system for accountability. And he goes on to say, commit yourself to detailed accountability, record your progress towards your goals, and share it with another. This is the key. Daryl, this is it. This is the holy grail of success. And if you follow this simple path, you don't need to learn a 10-week course on how to do something or that. This is the simplest way possible. Just be accountable to another human being, stay within the guardrails, be guided by a system, record your progress and track your results, and then finally celebrate because you're going to do amazing things.
How does the process work? Like you said that before, like you built this for yourself to follow a system and be guided by the software. What are you guided through?
Well, here's how it works. If you go to resultsbreakthrough.com and you sign up, the very first thing you're going to be prompted to do is fill out your profile. And it's, a typical profile. And on that profile, we ask you things like what size business do you have and what niche are you in and what type of a partner do you want? What gender do you want? Whether you want someone who's bigger or smaller than you. And at that point, the system records everything on your profile and uses it with a very powerful search engine to match you to anybody else who's looking, or when you do a search, to match you to another person. So first, you fill out the profile. Second, you do the search. You then invite somebody to be a partner. The calendaring system does all of the dates and times for you. And the next thing you know, if they say yes, then you're going to meet on the phone or on Skype or on Zoom at a certain time of day or night. You're going to open up your software and the two of you are going to talk while working with the software. Now, we have, as I said earlier, a library of questions that you can choose from so that as you move through the process, you are able to select questions that really work for you at the time. Now, I mentioned training courses before. We have a library of about 16 training course questions that are in there today, and more are being added every day. We just added Charles Bird's 0 to 60 with Evernote course, and there's like 60 new accountability questions as of this morning. So we bring courses on all the time. And when I mean bring them on, I mean that we work with the course developer to get their accountability questions so that if you choose that course and you want to match with somebody who already has the same course as you so that you could work together towards finishing it, all of those curriculum type questions are in the software and sequenced for you automatically. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a really smart strategy for you just as your own business, but also just it's a huge value add for people because we've all bought courses that we haven't done. So the user, I mean, it's a win-win-win. It's a value for you, because it's a great strategic alliance with the course creator, especially if they have a course that's really popular. But it's also a valuable thing for the end user because, again, we've all bought courses and books that we intended to do and we just didn't. And sometimes if that's even one of the Think and Grow Rich mastermind principles, right? Like just to be surrounded by a group of people with like-minded goals, because maybe you miss a chapter, but they can just bring you up to speed and now you got momentum again and you're going to dive into the next chapter. Like nothing's perfect. So at least it keeps you moving forward. And then of course it helps with the course seller because as we said before this call, we were talking about instances where we've had clients not execute on plans put together, or we create something and it works, but then they get distracted by a shiny object and do something different and forget about this money-making thing that we built for them. And just the fact that when you put your heart and soul into a course, into something, you want people to do it because you're invested in their results. I mean, that's why my tagline is your success is my success. Even if I didn't have an ethical bone in my body, it's just smart business sense to be sincerely, wholeheartedly invested in people getting results and furthering their own life and goals. It's only going to serve me better. So even if I'm secretly the most insincere person and have no integrity, I'm never going to show that face to the world ever, because it's not going to serve me in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that will serve me is to be sincerely invested in other people, even if there's a dispute, to try to, end it amicably. So it's such a win-win-win for everyone. It's a win for you, it's a win for the course owner, and it's a win for the people trying to go through the programs. And it's also potentially a good teachable moment for people that are listening to the call. depending on if they're doing something. Like, are you a teacher? Are you a coach? Are you a consultant? Do you know what I mean? Is this something that you're lacking in your business and your tools? Maybe it's something you should connect to Mitch for, because it's just such a powerful part of it. I mean, we live in an age where everyone wants to sit behind a computer and not talk to customers and not talk to bosses or clients, or not, like just click buttons and have it run automated and make the money. But the reality is what's the world without people? And all a company is a group of people solving the pain of another group of people with a product or service. It's the carpenter or the plumber that comes because your toilet's clogged and overflowing, and they fix it for you. So now you don't have that pain anymore. It's the housekeeper that comes to clean up your house before the party, or so you can focus on other things that you enjoy more. It's the dentist that, fixes your toothache so you can think about something else other than the pain. I mean, that's really what the world is all about and why we do these things. And so anyways, I'm on my soapbox, but I just think it's a really powerful and valuable tool. And people underestimate the power of influence. Like, being an entrepreneur is such a lonely place because who do you talk to? Like, what do you do if you're struggling in your business? Like, I remember when I had one of my early businesses was a martial arts school. I was in a small town in a really competitive niche. I mean, I've seen other people, they didn't have the competition that I was up against. I had 5 competing martial arts in my martial art in a town of 100,000 people. There's not that many people interested in martial arts. You know what I mean? It's like, and if you're not getting new students like the rate you'd like to, who are you going to turn to? You're going to go ask your competitors, "Hey, I'm hungry this month. Can I have some of your," like, they're not going to tell you. Your employees, most of them are just in to check in, check out, collect a paycheck and be done, right? Your spouses don't often understand. So who do you talk to? So it's just a really valuable thing. To be able to connect people like that. I think it's extremely powerful.
Well, you make a very valuable point. As entrepreneurs, we live inside of our head most of the time. And what it comes down to is eventually we need to deal with our feelings of failure. And we need to overcome those feelings. And I don't want to sound like, wait a minute, I don't have those feelings because I'm quote unquote Mitch Russo. Forget that. We all have those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And something, I have the same issues that everyone listening to this call has. It's just that I'm older and I've had more experience than most of you.
Mm-hmm.
So take it from me, the best way to overcome any of these things is to actually move your lips and talk to another human being about them.
Mm-hmm.
And not so much in counseling, but in terms of staying accountable, in terms of overcoming these feelings. The best way to combat failure, Daryl, the absolute best way of all, it's to succeed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be any easier than that. So, you say, well, I've been trying to succeed. I've tried all these things. They don't work. Well, you know what? Get yourself a partner, an accountability partner, and bounce these ideas off of them, and they'll challenge you on them.
Yep.
And ask you the right kind of questions. Well, look, Mitch, you have this great idea for some accountability system. Have you ever beta tested it? Have you ever tried it with other people? Do you know it's going to work?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what my accountability partner asked me when I created this idea before I ended up spending the kind of money I spent to program this thing and beta test it and set it up and have all the stupid funnels, drunnels stuff built in stuff. I mean, it's like, you know what it costs, Daryl. It's a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's worth the risk, because I realize that if I could help even 100 people a month get into accountability partnerships and stay accountable, for heaven's sakes, it's worth it to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially, yeah. You'll never see the impact either, because it can have an exponential impact. When you're committed to helping people achieve their goals, it affects their family, their friends, their staff, their customers. Because whenever there's a problem in their life or something that's not performing at the level it should, when the tide rises, all the boats rise. So
exactly.
So yeah, that's a definitely worthy goal. So what do you recommend if anyone that's struggling or fearful right now, that's caught in that kind of scarcity mindset? Because that's the other part too. You have to be willing to come and confess your sins and be able to go, you know what? I didn't get it done. Like, that's like, realistically, part of the reason why why accountability works is because there's nowhere to hide. Right?
That's right.
And so in some ways it's a bit of trial by fire. If we're going to be real with people, it can be a bit of a trial by fire because you have to confess your warts. And what do you recommend to anybody that's afraid of that?
Again, for me, I think the most important thing to do is to be honest with yourself and find another person to be honest with who will not be judgmental. And once again, without sounding like a broken record, this is exactly what this is for. We're all here to become accountable, and we're all here to find accountability partners. No one is going to make you feel bad because you didn't get anything done. And you probably have something like I do. I have a spreadsheet on my computer with all the courses I've bought on that spreadsheet with all the usernames and passwords. And the other day I added up how much money I've spent over the last 5 years on courses, training programs, masterminds, and retreats that I ultimately either didn't finish or didn't get enough out of. And that number, I'm sad to say, is over $80,000. And so the bottom line is this. I would love, and this is why I did what I did. I have my accountability partner, and we have worked through courses already. And one of them was a LinkedIn marketing course, which I paid $10,000 for, and I never finished. Well, together we got it done, and now I'm getting leads on LinkedIn. So I'm telling you this works. I know it will help you. You just got to get ready and do it. And by the way, Daryl, I promised your listeners that if they stayed and listened to me drone on for the last, whatever it is, 20 minutes or so, that I'd give them my best accountability questions. So is it okay if I do that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. So go to mitchrusso.com/best accountability questions.
Okay, so that's Mitch, mitchrusso.com/best accountability questions. Oh, look at
Correct.
this. I'm looking at them right now.
There you go.
Here we go.
And I'll tell you right now, and this again is the key I want to make clear to you. First of all, every one of these questions is already inside of the Results Breakthrough Network, plus many more. And more are getting added all the time. This is the beginning for you. If you feel like the cost of membership is too much money, I can understand that. Not everybody can afford everything. At least do this. Find somebody that you could pair up with. Keep a schedule and be diligent about keeping it. Get yourself a notebook and keep track of your statistics, and ask yourselves 5 or 6 or more of these questions every single week, and you will see an incredible change in your life.
Mitch, thank you so much. It's a really powerful, incredible tool. I'm definitely interested, especially with the chance to mentor inner city kids. The financial investment's not a lot, especially when you consider what some people are paying. Some people are paying thousands of dollars per month to essentially get the exact same thing. So I think it's definitely a worthwhile thing. So is there anything I didn't ask you about that I should have asked you about?
Well, the one thing I want to say is that I just want to be clear about one thing. I think there's a place for coaches coaches and consultants. I think there's a place for having and paying for a coach to accelerate your progress by basically saving you a learning curve.
Right.
And so this does not replace coaching. What this is for is it's to accelerate your progress in your world with the commitments that you've made. And if you bought something, in my mind, you've made a commitment. So that's the difference between, and by the way, we work with coaching organizations, and we work, as you said earlier, with the people who have programs where they want their clients and students to stay accountable. We work side by side. You could bolt this on to almost any diet program, exercise program, or training program and get fantastic results. So I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, no, of course. So the two sites are resultsbreakthrough.com. And the other one, if you wanted those questions, it was Mitch Russo, mitchrusso.com/best accountability questions. And Mitch, before I forget, what is the site for your photography? Mitch is an amazing photographer. I love his stuff. What's the site for that?
It's mitchrussotravels.com. Thank you.
mitchrussotravels.com. Definitely check those out. Some phenomenal photographs. I'm a huge fan. I love your stuff. Mitch, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. This really is an important thing. Please, if you missed anything, you may want to listen to it again. We also did 2 other excellent interviews with Mitch. Definitely go check those out if you enjoyed this one. And get yourself an accountability partner that you connect with week by week. Check out resultsbreakthrough.com if you want a system to help make sure it's done to the best of its ability to get you the best results. Or if you want to try to patch together your own thing, follow Mitch's advice. If you missed that, just click rewind. Mitch, thank you again so much. It's always an honor and a pleasure.
My pleasure, Daryl. Thank you.
You've reached the end of our interview. Now, first, let me thank you for listening. I appreciate and respect you more than you'll ever know. And now I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. First, what 3 lessons did you just learn? What 3 aha moments just jumped out at you? Second, what can you implement for yourself and your business in the next 24 hours? Third, what can you give to someone else to help you with, or give to them to just do it for you? Whatever it is, remember, taking action is the secret sauce to results. Now, if you think this interview would be helpful for a friend, please give them a link to it. It'll help them and it'll help me too. I'd also like to invite you to help me find out more about the challenges you're facing, your dreams, your goals, and how I can help you overcome what's holding you back. We both do better when we know better, and your success is my success. So please reach out and interact. You can visit our website, bestbusinesscoach.ca for Canada or California, where I'm from and where I'm living. You're welcome to also try out one of our paid programs. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and pretty much every other social media channel you can think of. You should also subscribe to the podcast. And if you're enjoying them, please leave us a nice review. It really helps. That's all for now. Once again, thank you. Take care of yourself, and remember, the world needs the best business you can build. And I believe in you.